Honourable Governor Fuisipik.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I give my response, I'd like to extend my deepest condolences to our people of Telefomin and family and friends of our late brother, the Honourable Allan Mirisim. Mr. Speaker, I want to start by acknowledging the excellent response by the Shadow Treasurer, first of all. And I also want to acknowledge the excellent response from the Chairman of Budget and Estimates, the Honourable Joseph Yobiobi. Mr. Speaker, this is the first time in this House that I have sat and heard a response from the Shadow Treasurer and the Chairman of the Budget Estimates Committee sound almost the same. And I'm thinking that maybe the same person wrote those two papers. However, I say that because it is quite rare for two different, one in government and one in opposition, to come out with the exact same failings in a budget, Mr. Speaker. Now, you will find, Mr. Speaker, that a lot of the things I wanted to say were already said by these two gentlemen. But I can tell you that I wrote my own speech, Mr. Speaker. And it took me many sleepless nights of going through the books. Mr. Speaker, I start by acknowledging one of our hardest working treasurers, 7 consecutive record-breaking budgets, Mr. Speaker. And you know, we always sit here and applaud the size of the budget. We never go to check the size of the achievements. But in any case, Mr. Speaker, many Papua New Guineans are watching this debate and they're asking themselves one simple question. When will these record budgets translate into record-breaking solutions, Mr. Speaker? When will they feel safer in our communities? When will these young men and women find a job, or even simply just to access basic medicine at one of our clinics? The disconnect between these grand budgets, massive record numbers, and the reality our people are living could not be greater, Mr. Speaker. The government can no longer ignore the fatal flaws in its budget assumptions for 2024, 2025, and now 2026. Mr. Speaker, they are repeating the same mistakes that we have seen in the last two budgets, and I will outline this as I continue. These budgets appear to be driven more by political necessity than by technocratic rigor. And the numbers are so scary, they don't add up. The first issue I have is that I see a clear pattern of failure in planning and delivery. The evidence is undeniable, Mr. Speaker. In 2024 and 25, we experienced severe cash flow crisis, forcing media adjustments that crippled service delivery. Mr. Speaker, I raised on this floor that the ECP provincial government and many provincial governments and PHAs received our first allocation in September, Mr. Speaker. Now that's the 2025 budget. All of these media adjustments actually crippled service delivery, Mr. Speaker. And you heard it from the Chairman of Plans and Estimates. He very clearly outlined it. He said it better than I could with all of the details. We had critical shortages of medical supplies last year. Mr. Speaker, we had this problem last year. My leaders, the ECP leaders, sat down and we allocated money to purchase medicines in November last year because the problem was already evident last year. This year, almost all Geta Health Center, all PHA, those in charge of the curative services, had to advise that they were shutting down. Now, all of these they're not isolated incidents, Mr. Speaker. These are symptoms of systematic failure in budget formulation and revenue forecasting. and the government is simply ignoring the message. The government's very famous slogan of building the richest black Christian nation sounds very hollow, Mr. Speaker, when in practice, it means that some black people are getting rich, while the majority cannot even afford to buy Panadol. Our people's aspirations are not extravagant. They don't set out to become millionaires, Mr. Speaker. Our people simply want safety from harassment and violence and law and order. They want regular power. They want shelter. They want regular water. And they want food. And finally, Mr. Speaker, dignity. A young man wants to be able to get a job so he can feed his small family. He's not setting out to become a multimillionaire in this country. And he can't even get that. This budget, like its predecessors, fails to make those aspirations of our people its central priority. The second point is financial engineering and a lack of transparency, Mr. Speaker. This budget masks deeper problems through questionable practices that you need to be aware of, Mr. Speaker, as the chair of this House. The budget has several issues that I will outline. The first one is floating debts, Mr. Speaker. The escalating practice of writing checks against the following year's cash flow needs to stop. In 2023, when the budget closed, Mr. Speaker, there was $1.5 billion in floating checks that were cashed in 2024. In 2024, we had $1.8 billion in floating checks when the budget was closed by the government. Now, what this effectively does is you take out a mortgage on the following year's cash flow, Mr. Speaker. How much money you may allocate him now? Yeah, and there's all floating checks. When they close the account in 14 days' time, only pass him. There's all floating checks, but I money lo first na second quarter blow next year. Because that's been the practice we see in 2023, 2024, and it's floating into 2025. And it's likely to float into 2026, Mr. Speaker. Now, this same model is applied at scale in the Connect PNG program, where billion kina contracts are awarded with payments deferred for future years. Mr. Speaker, I raised this issue on this floor when I was sitting on that side in the 2024 budget debate. It is now come home to haunt us, Mr. Speaker. The second issue in terms of this financial engineering that I speak of, they are off-budget allocations, Mr. Speaker. In 2023, 980 million kina was diverted, as demonstrated in the FBO in 2024. Final budget outcome here. Let me step inside, Mr. Speaker. I'm not making these numbers up. We still don't know who got the 980 million, Mr. Speaker. Now, in 2024, if you look at the final budget outcome again, there's another 900 million kina that was allocated to certain special provinces, Mr. Speaker. And I can assure you, Manus is not one of them. We need to know that people of Papua New Guinea deserve transparency on the way the national government is handling public funds, Mr. Speaker. Number three, lack of transparency on close of account funds. Mr. Speaker, in 14 days' time, the accounts are going to close. What happens every year when the accounts close is that all get the money silip lo one account here, also broom him na bung him. Na any CISA decide uset by kissing desla money. There is still no accountability over the last 6 years. Every year also sweep him 300, 400 million na bung him here. We have not received a single report on this floor where that money goes. And I ask the government to bring it onto this floor so all the Papua New Guinea can sawe. Tell blodesla rat useti kisim, leg blonge museti kisim, yaw blonge museti kisim, Mr. Speaker. The fourth point I wish to raise, Mr. Speaker, is in hidden liabilities. Now, I remind the House, I raised these issues in 2 subsequent budgets. Finally, the hard-working people in Treasury have confirmed exactly what I have been saying on this floor, Mr. Speaker. If you look on page 84, volume 1, the government finally admits Because for the first time in 50 years, they have put in a small line that says that the 66 billion kina debt. You play page 84 of this book, number 1 volume and a second. Numbers don't lie, Mr. Speaker. Numbers don't lie. So, now only talk of them. This 66 billion kina debt does not include arrears. I am asking for transparency, Mr. Speaker. How much are the arrears? Is it 7 billion, 8 billion, 9 billion? How much? Why you play high team? Karimi kan na talk out talk threats so all the Papua New Guinea can sabe. What is the true debt? You are hiding it from IMF, you are hiding it from World Bank, and you are hiding it from the people of this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I raised serious issues about the funding of the Connect PNG. Finally, if you look at the WEX budget, they are allocating 100 million kina a year for arrears. Now, only got Narbla arrears ken, emoli high team backside lo Connect PNG, because their own budget books tell us, Mr. Speaker, numbers don't lie. Those are your numbers, not mine. Now, what the government is doing is not fiscal consolidation, Mr. Speaker. It is a deliberate effort to keep massive state liabilities off the books. Only talk 66 billion, but true number is not on the books. We are not seeing it, Mr. Speaker. Now, there's all kind line also. IMF na World Bank lo backing you plan lo heighten this number. Someone needs to tell us the truth. What is the total number for all of the Connect PNG contracts? Is it 10 billion, 12 billion? How much, Mr. Speaker? These are, again, mortgages on future revenue. The house, the people deserve to know. This is clever accounting, Mr. Speaker, because what they are doing is only kisimol contractor working work now by paying more next year and a year behind. So trupla dinao ya emi stop finish, but only no put him on top so all people by looking, Mr. Speaker. Clever accounting, creative accounting. And I am asking again, is IMF and World Bank endorsing this practice of clever accounting? The next one is the unrealistic revenue assumptions and election consents. Mr. Speaker, he got some all budget items only put him inside long 207, where he no got clear explanation. This is like something. For example, under 207, there is 150 million kina for a contingency fund. Election contingency or 1M. There is 75 million for SDG number 8. There is no description on what they are going to do with that money, Mr. Speaker. And then there's 200 million for unnamed government obligations. Only put him lohap. He got 75 million, you blow open member, you blow harim staff. Only height him 75 million long 207, only talk blow district maintenance. So you blow open member harim, me talk him you blow now. And then there is 180 million, Mr. Speaker, for the PM slush fund. M2 is tablo 207. This year it was 200 million, Mr. Speaker. Very clever accounting. Now, this is all problem here. Na 2 plus speaker go pass it talk pinis na me like repeat him. They are dangerously high projections on revenue, Mr. Speaker. From KCHL, the estimate of increased revenue from this year to next year is 385%. This year, it only collected half that, Mr. Speaker. This is a fantasy. They need to tell the people of Papua New Guinea how they expect to collect extra money when it's not there. They did the same thing in this year's budget, Mr. Speaker. This year, they projected that SOEs will give them 153 billion. 1.53 billion. Now, they only collected 45% of that. And next year, they are expecting to increase collections from state-owned enterprises from 802 million to 3.1 billion. If they don't do it, you mean by expecting cash flow problem next year in September. I know many MPs were promised money for their projects next year, because by Halibi Molo win him 2027 election, me sorry lo yupla no good September next year yupla by wait him yet. This leads me to another problem, Mr. Speaker. The 2027 general elections, and I say this as chair of the elections committee. Mr. Speaker, there's some funding to the commissioner, but there's no funding to police and some of the other agencies that are going to be carrying out the elections specifically. So me just talk out as well as a warning after what we've seen in the LLG elections just concluded about a week ago. You may not like to repeat him 2027, Mr. Speaker. Finally, the empty promise of provincial funding. Mr. Speaker, people belong ECP, long 2024, 44 million me play no kisim. Last time me raise him, me talk out also. In 14 days time when accounts close, 45 million people blow ECP. I mean no come yet. PHA, 8 million only outstanding yet. As far as the people of ECP are concerned, 2024 was a fake budget. 2025 was a fake budget. Now, prove me wrong by making sure that 26 is not another fake budget, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is the government's seventh budget. It continues to blame votes of no confidence for its lack of performance. The truth is that poor performance stems from poor budget priorities. There are no new initiatives in this budget for manufacturing, even though they say so. Agriculture repeats the same old cycle of big promises and big letdowns. Boasts of creating 20,000 jobs are cold comfort when there are several million unemployed Papua New Guineans around the country. The recent demographic health survey paints a frightening picture, Mr. Speaker. 42% of our population are under 15. Unemployment rate amongst women is 70%. Unemployment amongst men is 55%. Mr. Speaker, despite all these record budgets, my province receives about 1 hour of power supply every day. We have just decided to make sure that Borom Hospital has a desalination plant so it can get water, and it will operate on full solar power so we can maintain services to our people, Mr. Speaker. This is the reality across the country. The government got its numbers terribly wrong in 2024 and 2025. I hope they are not wrong again in 2026. This is more than incompetence. It is fundamental dishonesty in its accounting to the parliament and to the people. Government has the numbers to pass this budget, no doubt. Its members have been promised many goodies for next year to help them with re-election. But, as I said earlier, you will all be grumbling by June or July next year, Mr. Speaker, as these promises fail to materialize. One final point. The PM has been calling for accountability from provinces. So I want to ask the PM, what about accountability from your office? The PM's budget for his office and his PIP and his 180 million slush fund totals 548 million this year, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister's office will spend more money than 16 of our provinces. Only 6 provinces will spend the same amount as the Prime Minister's office, Mr. Speaker. ECP has 700,000 people, and we are looking at a budget of 370 million kina this year. Manus is not going to receive as much money as the PM's office. Most of you here, your provinces are not going to receive. Central will not, West Sepik will not, Medang will not, East New Britain, West New Britain, New Ireland will not, Chimbu, Jiwaka, Western Highlands will not, Western Province will not, Gulf will not, Central, Milne Bay and Oro will not, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister needs to lead by example and show what all these monies, over $500 million every year that his office spends, has achieved before he calls for accountability from anyone else. Security with growth, Mr. Speaker. One can also take back PNG, the richest black Christian nation. It sounds like an empty slogan, sadly. These slogans are designed to mask a budget of false assumptions and failed delivery. Our people deserve the truth, Mr. Speaker. They deserve a budget that serves them, not just political fortunes for government cronies. This is not the people's budget. We deserve better. Mr. Speaker, Mibla all member of parliament ibin kisintok gaman lo 2024 budget, the 2025 budget, the now 2026 budget. It is an insult to the intelligence of the members of parliament when the government front bench continues to make promises, big promises in budgets it cannot keep. It makes us all look silly. People outside on the street are laughing at us. And that cannot be the way that we continue to allow this noble work of putting people at the center of our budgets to flounder and fail every year, Mr. Speaker. Let me ask him, you all member of parliament, especially colleagues on the government side. You should be holding your front bench to account. No can lari mipla opposition kan na karim heavy pla work lo lug lo country. I mean work blo mipla one and work blo yumi all geta. So I appeal to you, honorable leaders. Think of your people. 16 provinces will receive less money in next year's budget than the Prime Minister's own office. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.